Where did you go?
He doesn't see you.
I'm shitting myself.
He doesn't see you.
You were invisible for the entire...
Hey, what's up guys? I'm John, aka DJ You Know Me, aka one of the programmers at Iron Silk Games. Today I'm going to tell you all about a game that we're working on called Beats to Kill 2. So, Beats to Kill 2, or BTKT for short, is a competitive third-person shooter and rhythm game with a Gun Z-inspired movement system and a banger hard dance soundtrack. In around 2 months, we were able to go from this to this. So our idea started out with, hey, we want to make a multiplayer game that has lots of crazy movement options and even crazier music. So the first thing we did was look at some other games and figure out what movement mechanics we liked. Being a fighting game player, I personally really like the idea of animation canceling. Dashing and wall jumping were also a must-have. So we started by implementing those movement options into a third-person character with one main rule. The animations could be canceled to the beat of the music. From there, we had to fix a few issues. Firstly, we had to decide what could be wall jumped and what couldn't. So we did that by checking the two angles of an object. If it's flat, it's ground. If it's vertical, it's a wall. If it's something in between, there's just an angle that we've decided is the point at which something turns into a wall. From there, we had to decide, well, if there's two walls, what are we going to do? We had to look at the player's directional input to figure out, hey, whatever direction they're inputting, we'll just use that wall. And then if they weren't inputting a direction, we said, well, it's just whatever direction you're facing. Then the last problem was you would just kind of fly off the wall every time you wall jumped, which wasn't super good for actually climbing up something. So to fix that, we added the ability to climb up a wall if you held forward into it. Basically just gave you more upward force and less outward force. And so now we had some decent movement.
Sword fight only, sword fight only. Get up here. No, sword fight only, what are you doing? You cheater. I'll slice you to bits for that. You're getting sliced to bits.
In case you guys don't know, Callum is actually a voice actor for this character. He's just working on his lines.
I'll slice you.
I'll slice you to
beats.
For combat, we initially had the idea of doing something like Gun Z as well. The player would have a sword that let them dash and move around quickly and block other attacks, while switching weapons gave you like a high damage shotgun that reduced your mobility. But we tested this and realized that the sword was kind of trash and blocking was just useless except to flex on people. So we decided to replace the sword with just a ranged attack and switch to an ability system. This way, each weapon or stance had two abilities attached to it, which added a bit more diversity to the game. One of the first things we tried to add in early on was networking, since we knew we wanted to make an online multiplayer game. We tried learning the new Unity network system, but it just didn't really have enough documentation, so we switched to Mirror. We then spent a few hours trying to port forward so that we could actually connect, but then our artist Michael reminded us that Hamachi existed, so we just used that. We were able to play in-game on Hamachi for a while, but since this isn't Minecraft in 2012, we didn't really think people wanted to have to use Hamachi to play an online game. So we looked into the Steam API and figured out we could avoid port forwarding and Hamachi by just going through Steam. So we combined that with our previous networking code, and now we were able to play online through Steam. We played the game like that for a while, but it was just pretty ugly. Our dude was a Mixamo model, and our grass just kind of disappeared when you jumped in the air, and there was like no readability whatsoever. So to fix this, we coded a bunch of shaders and shader graph. The main two being a grass shader and a toon shader. So now that we had some good looking grass and a toon shader that we could slap on everything, we started working on sending the music into the grass into our other shaders so that you could see the music moving around as you played. You can check out how we made the grass in our devlogs on itch, or you could just join our Discord and ask us questions. The last step was adding particles and sound effects to make attacks look like they actually did something. We added UI elements too so that players could actually tell what was happening behind the scenes. And we added some options so that people could play the game if they had a potato PC. Oh, and I added a bunch of music I had on my SoundCloud page from like 3 years ago. So if any of this was interesting to you, go play the game. You could also join our Discord server if you're looking for people to play with. We're still working on the game, so expect more updates to come out too. If you have ideas on what you'd like to see added to the game, feel free to comment on the video, send us a Discord message, or tweet at us on Twitter. So yeah, go play some Beats to Kill to.